part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hello, another week, another episode of the Ball Card Show. This is the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
I'm Jason Otero.
I'm Gary Lemaster.
As always, we are brought to you by the Press
Play
Podcast
Network.
All right, we got to change it up next time. It's too many times of doing it that way. It's becoming...
I mean, you are the show intro-er person. So.
I am. We never even talked about it. I just was like...
Yeah, you just started doing it.
I got this.
Yeah, which is fine. I don't care, but don't look at me like we got to change it up. You got to change it up. I'm just going to flow. You are the instigator-in-chief around here.
Okay, I think I will surprise you with an introduction next week.
Deal.
You get no heads up.
Have I ever?
You know what I might do? I might spoil you right now. I'm considering a Toby Keith medley.
Oh God. Please don't.
One of the radio play legends. You got to give the man credit. He was on the radio a lot.
No, very, very famous. Sad day in the country music world.
You did not expect a Toby Keith turn in this introduction.
I did not.
And that's how you pivot, right? Away from the awkward moment.
I'm sitting here trying to think of how I'm going to say nice things about a man who just passed.
Nope, that's it. You just say that. You just say nice things.
Oh, okay.
That's how, and you should try that in the future and see how that
seems,
goes over with.
It seems overrated.
Nope, you can stop. All right, so we got a little bit to talk about here today. We are continuing with some of our prospecting as baseball season is right around the corner. We're going to talk through some NFL awards given out this week and how they might affect the hobby, if they would at all, with some of these players. Update on our 5K challenge. You and I are both in the money. We both have sold once again this week. And then a little bit of a rant over buying and selling online as card dealers.
Yeah.
Which, man, just a lot of hours I'll never get back this week. So let's jump into it. NFL gave out some honors this week. Run down the list. I'm just curious. Let's talk through if we think it has a hobby impact on cards for any of these players. So up first, we have the league MVP, Lamar Jackson. Not a shocker.
I mean, it is a shocker, but it's not a shocker. The momentum was all going to him, but I, honest to God, believe that 10 years from now, assuming that Brock Purdy is who I think he is and has shown himself to be, we're going to look back and go, how did Lamar win this MVP award? Yeah. He didn't even have 30 total touchdowns. He did not throw for a whole crap load of yards. The team was good. He played pretty well down the stretch until the AFC Championship game where he played like dog duty. I don't know. I mean, he won the award. I think everybody thought he was going to win the award, and he joins a very small group of humans that have ever won the MVP award twice. Mm-hmm. And he was damn near unanimous. He had 49 out of 50 first-place votes. The other one went to Josh Allen.
Yeah. Yeah, hobby impact, I don't know that it does a dang thing.
I mean, I don't think it does. I think that
if he grabs a couple more rings, then, you know.
What, a couple more or just a couple because he doesn't have any rings. If he wins a championship or he wins another MVP at some point down the road, like at that point, you're holding Lamar Jackson.
So we're both saying,
forever.
I don't know that this does.
No, he does. He's definitely didn't get a spike from it. No.
I think this will be a theme through this list.
Probably.
Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett.
So here's the interesting thing about Myles Garrett.
Is he officially out of the doghouse now after that little mishap with the helmet? You know.
Oh yeah, he has been.
Just a little mishap.
It wasn't a mishap, but I also think Mason Rudolph said some pretty rough stuff to get that reaction.
It's just every now and then, you know, I got a little mad, got a helmet out.
But does Mason Rudolph not look like a guy who would say some terrible things to you, and then if you took a swing at him, he'd look at you and go, my dad's going to sue you?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And, you know, every now and then, you just got to hit somebody in the head with a helmet. You know what I mean? Just get that stress out.
I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I have not done the same thing, because I have.
Oh, man. Minor league football. I expect it there.
Well, you get some wackadoodle just hitting you late 5, 6, 7 plays in a row, and you turn around and look at the official and go, are you going to do anything about this? And the official looks at you like you're the idiot. So you look at the DN that's been doing that to you, and you say, hey, that happens one more time, and it's going to be real bad.
These are all hypotheticals.
They are complete hypotheticals. And then hypothetically, 2 plays later, the guy gets you after the whistle, and you hypothetically take your helmet off and start going to town, and then hypothetically both benches clear. Yeah, it's just all hypotheticals.
It was a violent day in the arena.
It was not. It wasn't good.
Anyway, I don't know if I believe that. Up next, Offensive Player of the Year, Christian McCaffrey.
Probably should have won MVP, but he's not a quarterback.
He was pretty cheap a year ago. Just a reminder to people, he was accessible.
Yeah, he's not so much anymore.
Maybe more like a year and a half is a better way of saying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, right before that, yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, when he's healthy, he's the best running back in football. It's not really close.
Will this be, if he gets through this season, is that 2 seasons without injury? Or did he get hurt last year?
No, he wasn't hurt, so it would have been. Well, he missed like 1 game last year, but he's going to be basically 2 full seasons in a row.
That's promising
after 2 seasons, 2.5 seasons of not much at all.
Yeah.
But whenever he's been healthy, he's a problem.
Yeah. All right. Offensive rookie. Man, it's been so fun to watch this. CJ Stroud.
Yeah, it wasn't even
Here's
close.
the thing. Hobby Impact. We did have a message come in on Facebook just asking about, football quarterbacks, time of the year to sell. What do we do? Do I hang on to this? Is it better to wait? The large majority of the time, it is better to wait until the season starts back up, because after the big game Sunday,
yeah,
the market's just going to soften a little bit.
Yep.
CJ Stroud is going to hold a premium, definitely over any other rookie this year.
Yeah, and it'll start creeping up in June. It'll peak in late July as training camps are getting going, and then it'll soften a little bit unless the Texans are just crushing the world and CJ Stroud's lighting the world on fire. And then as the season, this is the typical quarterback cycle in the NFL for cards. As the season wears on, if it looks like your team is in contention and you're playing well, your cards will start to go up as people start to think, okay, I need to buy these now and hold for the playoffs.
Yeah, week 10 to 12 can be really a great time to make some moves. As far as the effect on the hobby, I guess the only thing I would say is a lot of people that are heavily collecting football probably need to make a decision about CJ Stroud. You probably need to figure out, it's not a bad time if you're going to buy him and invest in him. Do you really think he's as good as how he has performed? We have a lot of rookie quarterbacks that come in. They're gimmicky, or they have, something that's been challenging for defenses to adjust to, but by second or third year, they adjust to it. In my opinion, I think he's going to be good for a long time.
Well, there's nothing to it. So
he's
the
just
type
a
of
really
guys you're
good
talking
quarterback.
about are guys who run around, and CJ Stroud's a pure pocket passer who has enough athleticism to make people miss in the pocket.
Yeah.
And if you give him a wide open lane, he'll run for 20 yards.
Did you see some of the passes he had, even in that flag football game?
Listen, he has some of, if not the best, instinctual anticipation of any quarterback in the league. And his touch on the ball, especially on deep balls, is shockingly good.
Yeah. And
his ability to float the ball to the mid-level over linebackers is I don't know that there's anybody else in the league outside of maybe Patrick Mahomes that can do that the way he does it.
So all that to say, I'm not sure that him getting this award immediately affects his value. However, if you need
his value already had it baked in.
If you needed another reminder and you haven't, I was not going to pay where he was this last month, but in the next month or two, I will be buying
March.
A couple nice slabs
April,
of him and putting them away.
Yep.
If you need him more convincing, this is just a reminder. He's really good. I think he's going to be good for a long time. Up next, defensive rookie of the year will be Will Anderson. What do you got to say about that guy?
I mean, again, it wasn't really that close. Devin Witherspoon, I think, finished second, and he was really good in Seattle. But Will Anderson, again, problem. He can rush the passer. He can drop into coverage. He's fast. He's got a really, really strong dip and rip move. Had 7 sacks as a rookie and tons of pressures. His pass rush win rate was over 16%, which is a big number for a rookie.
I just heard dip and rip move, and I like that.
Yeah, he's really good. The Texans aced the draft last year. They just absolutely aced the draft.
That's a great point. Yep, that definitely happened. Okay, let's jump into the 5K update. So for those of you that did not hear or haven't, Gary and I started a challenge where throughout all of 2024, we started with $100. We are buying and selling our way up as far as we can go. The person who has the highest value card as we wrap up the season going into the holidays this year is the winner, and the loser has to either sell their card and give 25% of the value in cash wherever their card is, or
if they want to keep the card, they still got to pay 25% of the value.
We are a few trades in. You have we both sold 2 cards?
1, 2, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we both sold 2 cards.
So this week I'll let you go first because I was a little surprised at how mine moved.
Yeah, so I had that Calvin Johnson RPA. I still feel really good about the buy that I had on it. It's such a unique and rare card that doesn't come up for sale very often that it took me a little longer to move it than I thought that it would. But I moved it at the Washington, PA show this last weekend, which is a great show. If you're in that area, the next time that show is in May, it's fantastic. It's definitely worth sticking your head into. It's 300 tables. It's 2 days. It's worth going. Ended up selling it for $400. A little less than I wanted for it, but I wanted to get it moving and not be stagnant within the context of the 5K challenge. So that's where I'm at. Now I'm trying to buy my next card. So listeners, if you've got a card that's, a $550 comp value that you're having a hard time moving and you want to sell it for $400, you let me know.
Gary will probably even
cash money
give you a shout out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's how he got started.
You're so hateful.
I finally moved my Luca 10. It was the Obsidian preview card, basically out of Chronicles. So my approach was, all right, for this next one, I'm trying to get something. I paid $150. I want to try to get to $200. The first few leaps are going to be hard. I think it's going to get a lot more fun right around the price point that you're at. $400 to $600 is where it starts to move, and then it's going to get more challenging again in a few $100. I thought that Luca was a no-brainer to set up a line where people could do 10 spots at $20 or run bottoms, which means 10 people say I want a part of this, and we randomize it. First 8 spots are safe. The number 1 spot gets the card or 80% buyback, and the bottom 2 pay $100. I could not get anywhere with this. I kept getting offers on this Luca. So here's what was interesting. He went off for 73 points as the card's getting shipped to me. I think, oh man, I might get 250 out of this card. The problem is you have to consider how populated is the card, and is there a lot of them out in the market that people are going to buy up when this happens? That's what happened to me. So several cards got purchased for about 150 to 200, and now the offers were 150, 170, 185 firm, this and that. Finally, somebody that looked at the card and made an offer came back and said, all right, I'll do 200 on it. So made the deal. My next card, my approach is going to be it's going to be baseball. I either want to do a Hall of Fame auto, which I did see some cool ones, but a lot of them weren't quite the value.
Picked up a sweet Johnny Bench auto.
Oh, did
this
you?
week?
Nice.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go vintage slab again. So like last night I was trying to work a deal. I got really close on a 57 Willie Mays SGC4. I'm learning that with vintage, that lower grade stuff, which it's a whole different scale essentially. But if you get something between a graded 2 to 4, there can be a variance of comps of like 20%.
Oh yeah, it depends on how the card appeals.
Yes.
Eye appeal. So you could see a 2 that is centered and has good color, but the corners are really bad on. And that 2 may sell for as much or more than a 4 that is off center badly, but the colors are good and the corners are sharp.
Yeah.
So it's the eye appeal of a card in the vintage world matters a lot. And vintage buyers, we tell people all the time to buy the card, not the flip.
Yeah.
The flip, for those of you who aren't aware, is the little label on a slab that tells you what it's graded. Vintage buyers always buy the card and not the flip.
Yeah. Always.
1 million out of 1 million times they are buying the card, not the flip. Modern buyers buy the flip. If it's a 90-10 centering card, but PSA said it was a 10, they're buying it like it's a 10. A vintage buyer would never do that in a million years.
Yeah. So I think at the price point I'm at, the good vintage stuff, I guess that's a little bit subjective. What I'm considering the good vintage stuff probably starts around, it looks like at around $300 to $350. You start to see big Hall of Fame names that are graded where you can have some room. 200's a reach, but I've still been pretty close on some Willie Mays, some more Clemente stuff, those types of things. So I might still go after that. I also am kicking around the idea, which would be a longer play, of what if I found a raw vintage at 180 and could send it
$20
off
to grade it.
grade it.
As long as you're within your $200.
So anyway, so that's kind of my strategy going forward. I also got pretty close on a Topps Chrome Black Derek Jeter on-card auto that was numbered to 75.99.
Jeter's weird. His stuff is weird. You'd think
that some of it is worth a lot more, and then there's somewhere it moves for a lot less than you expect.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to be careful on that too.
Yep.
Tons of Adrian Beltre getting offered up. Transcendence on-card autos. The problem is, as those may climb, they just aren't there yet. So a lot of really
Transcendence a weird product because it's a $20,000 box.
Yep.
But the cards, unless it's the one of ones, the bat knobs, that type of stuff,
$150 a lot of it.
Yeah, it's just not big dollar stuff, but
gorgeous
it's
cards.
a $20,000 box.
Yeah.
Now the box does include a pass to Topps Transcendent VIP party. They always have at least one. A couple years ago it was Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
And those were, if you bought a box of Transcendent, you could sell that pass for $8,000. So you were really only in the box for $12,000, which is still it's a car, right? But
it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of what I'm seeing whenever I make a post to ask for, I'm just saying I want a Hall of Fame baseball auto, or I'd look at a football one, and I want a good deal at 200 net. So that's something that we agreed on last time. If somebody's hitting you like, I'll do 200, but I want, $5 for shipping and cover the fees, we're doing that for the challenge because it's hard enough to get people down to that point. So yeah, that's my approach. Do you have a strategy, like a specific target, or are you just going for?
Well, right now my strategy is going to be one of two things. It'll either be something that's baseball, either prospect or guys that I think are going to break out this year. Like I've been kind of eyeballing some super low numbered O'Neal Cruz stuff because I think O'Neal Cruz, as long as he doesn't break an ankle again, is going to just go off this year. So like I looked at an of 5 auto that we just were about $150 apart on. The guy was more than fair. I just couldn't get there. Yeah. I still thought about buying it, just not for the challenge. Yeah. But it's either going to be that or it's going to be something that's either not necessarily vintage, but something that's more modern era instead of ultra modern. Some kind of, like I looked at a 2002 Topps Chrome Peyton Manning gold refractor PSA 10, like some stuff like that is that has a strong market, that is not dictated by a season, and it's not a high pop market. There's buyers out there for it. Yeah. So that's kind of what my thought process is. That being said, I'm the type of person too that I might go to Xenia tomorrow and be walking around and somebody has a random basketball card that's worth $650. They'll sell me for $400 and I'll buy it instantly. Like it's like, whatever moves.
Yep. All right. Let's, while we're talking about this, staying on the subject, walk through something that has been very frustrating to both you and me, which is trying to buy things. So it's interesting. If you don't know, recently I got out of working for another company, started working for myself with an LLC. Primarily what I'm doing is reselling. And kind of one of the rules with that is when you start to get good at it and get some traction with it, the hardest part is going to be sourcing good items to sell consistently.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a principle that applies across the board on anything reselling, right? Any type of retail arbitrage or buying and selling collectibles.
It's
you're
work.
Going to be playing a game.
It's work.
100%. I just got, if you heard that ding, it's a perfect example of this. Somebody's getting offended now. So I put out 2 different posts. So I'm in several. Facebook is the fastest way to get your eyes on a lot of buying opportunities.
Yep.
A lot of them have structures in place where you can do, we recommend PayPal goods and services. If you haven't worked with somebody, in case you get ripped off, you can appeal and get some money back there.
Right.
I made a post saying, hey, I'm trying to buy a $200 card. And I made another one where I said, hey, I'm trying to restock some card show inventory. $350 is what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for the best lot of cards you can give me, of cards ranging from about $5 to $20. Okay.
Right.
So there's some parameters there. The first thing I told you was I'm spending $350. I make it so clear that I use an image of the number 350 in my post. Second thing I tell you is I'm selling this for card show inventory. So I'd like to have margins. I said, ideally, I want to be at 60 to 70%. But if that doesn't work for you, I certainly understand, meaning keep scrolling.
Yeah.
Right? The third thing I give you is the value I would like the cards to be, around $5 to $20. So if you're looking to move 1 or 2 cards, I'm not your guy. But if you have a box of stuff that you've been sitting on a while, you'd like to move enough of them to make another purchase, hit me up. That's it. Very open-ended, straightforward, clear, to the point. I probably got, in an hour, 50 to 60 messages. I probably got 2 messages of people attempting to put together a lot of that value. Only one of them was looking for anywhere close to that price point, but it was at full comps.
Yeah.
There are some people that are just really on my nerves. So can we kind of run through this? I'll let you talk about the one that you got into with somebody, the listing that you had made. It was buying for $400, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so my whole thing with what you're saying is that the 2 things that I have come to realize, especially in social media world. One, and if you're listening and this offends you, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say other than the fact that I don't have feelings or get offended, so neither should you. The vast majority of people are dumber than a box of rocks. Like, that's just the reality of it. Sorry, it's just the truth. So they see the word buying in a Facebook post. They immediately stop reading everything. Their brain goes into short circuit mode. I'm going to get some cash. I'm going to get some cash. I'm going to get some cash. And they just start shooting you whatever. They haven't paid any attention to anything that you've actually said. And then when you don't want to buy their stuff, they get real mad about it. Like, they get real butthurt about, well, you're not going to buy anything. Nothing's going to make you happy. Sir, I literally said exactly what I was looking for. I was trying to buy the situation you're talking about. I was trying to buy a $400 card. And I made it very clear. I wanted to be around 70 to 75% of comps. So I'm not looking for an $800 card, not looking for a $600 card. I'm looking for about a $500, $550 card that somebody's willing to sell at $400. Make it fast, quick, and easy. A little less than what they deal with eBay, but they also don't have to worry about returns. They don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
And remember, the majority of people, unless they're just breaking stuff, which means they spent way more than the card's worth, they're buying these things also at a bit of a discount, or they're buying a collection, or it's a card that's gone up in value. There are some people that are buying right at comps, and they're kind of screwed. We've been around people like that. They can't move off the price. I get it. But their inability to read has blown my mind.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then people get all butthurt, and you try to explain. Like, a guy posted, I was looking for, this wasn't even the $400. I was looking for 2 specific things. I was looking for a Jerome Bettis card and a Troy Polamalu card. Because I made a couple custom displays for this show over in Pittsburgh area. And I said in the post, I'm looking for mid-2000s tops chrome, color, don't need autos, not looking for big cards, looking for $40 to $50 a piece. That's all I'm looking for. A nice card that I can put in one of these displays to help sell the display. Guy posts a white sparkle 2023 mosaic Troy Polamalu. And when I say, hey, I appreciate it, but no thanks, I'm just looking for mid-2000s tops chrome.
I think you said even, like, it doesn't quite meet the criteria I'm looking for.
And he got all butthurt. Oh, so what you're looking for, you're just looking for vintage. What, are you looking for just rookie? Like,
no, he said.
Bro.
He said, no, you're looking for a damn near rookie.
Yeah, it's like,
well, hold on. What is a near rookie worth?
Yeah, like, what are you talking about?
Well, you think you're going to get a 3rd year? That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Like, either way, the answer was yes, and I did. Like, this isn't hard, but so I guess the lesson for this, if you're listening and trying to sell stuff to people like this, is 1, read what we're looking for. if you don't meet what we're looking for, don't sweat it. Chances are at some point you will.
Well, and I think probably the more applicable thing here is that most of these people are also in the same situation as us, where people just can't read.
Yeah.
Or choose not to. I had $350 lot and people sending me one photo at a time in the thread of press proof blue Donruss football rookies from No Names.
Yeah.
Like, man, I could build you, man. There's thousands in here.
Yeah, I bet there are. They're 50 cents
Thousands.
each. Yeah, they're 50 cents each, man. What
Not
are you
looking
talking
for
about?
it.
No.
Or so I want to go. I'm not going to put this guy on blast, but I'm in one right now. So it started out as $350. Here's what I'm looking for. The guy sends me a few photos, and I'm like, oh, this would be a killer deal at $350. A lot of football autos in there. Some cool stuff like a Leaf Neymar relic, Joe Montana rookie numbered, but that's out of Leaf.
Not auto, not a rookie.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So there's no number Joe Montana rookies.
Yeah, autoed to like 75. Pretty card. It's like out of Trinity. So it had like that atomic or cracked ice look around it. It had Jameson Williams playbook, RPA to 5. Cool Josh Jacobs. So there's a lot of value there. I was like, all right, yeah. So $350. He's like, oh no, my guy. When there's the bro or the my guy. And then he says the next thing, which tells me I'm wasting my time, but I didn't stop there. I really need to sell these so I can make room for my sneaker display. Which should have been the first giveaway.
Yeah.
So then he's like, man, I could do this, but you're going to be at like $650 if you buy both. $750 if you, and then he was like, change. I said, the price is going up? What's going on here? And then he was real condescending through the whole thing. So he acts like he's going to work with me. I put an offer together that's really close to what he's wanting. And then essentially he's like, no, man, I'm just going to sell this stuff tonight at the show. Or tonight I'm going to just post all this online and I'll get a lot more money for it. I said, cool, man. Best of luck. For a point of record, I was within $30 of what he wanted.
Yeah.
And I was probably overspending a little bit, but I thought it was stuff all football. So by the way, I'm going to be sitting on, almost all of this football. I'll be sitting on most of this for a little while, but I'll get my money. He sells one of the cards for $200, messages me today, hey, I sold that one card, but the rest is still available if you want it. He lowers his price $50 after telling me he sold it for $200.
Yeah. Like, okay, so let me get this straight. I could have bought this for this price last night, and you want $50 less after you sold a $200 card.
So I'll just kind of read. This is what we deal with. He said, I sold the JMO book, but the rest of the lots are still available if you're interested. It'll be closer to the range you were looking for. We were $30 off, and he's saying that after selling a $200 card, we're now closer to the range you were looking for. And then he's like, I said, okay, what'd you get out of that card? Because I'm just going to put an end to it right there. He's like, $200. It's a $350 card. Every other Nike swoosh, it was a cool patch, right? It was one that had the swoosh on. Of his is a booklet to 5 did 400 plus. So he's telling me he sold that card for half of what it's worth.
Right.
Which that's not how that probably works. This whole lot is priced 40% comp deal. LOL. Now he's LOLing me because I haven't given him money already. After offering him within $30 of what he wanted for it. I said, are you still saying the card is worth, or this lot is worth this amount after selling a $200 card? He said, no, I'm just saying I gave you a legit 40% deal. He's since saying he would do the deal for $500. He has now unsent that message. And it now says I'd sell the remaining lots for $550.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave him on red for most of the day and then give him a hard pass. But I've wasted probably 8 hours looking through messages.
Yeah.
All this to say, quite a ramble. Go into sales and make offers. I'm not convinced, by and large, unless you can build some relationships in these groups, that people are going to be offering up these lots for deals.
Yeah, I think the hardest part about that is you can do that pretty consistently buying lower end stuff. But when you start wanting to spend $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 per card, it's really not too many people are running thread sales with those kind of cards.
That's true.
In them. So anyhow,
the vintage spaces have more of that.
But the vintage spaces tend to not be thread sales. They tend to be auctions. And one of the things that's crazy in the vintage world with auctions, and it makes me insane, and I won't even get in them.
I know where you're heading with this. It's a new way that they're ending these
It's
auctions.
not a new way. They've been doing it forever in these vintage groups. It's called a 24-hour rule. So the auction officially ends 24 hours after the last bid is put in. So you could put a bid in on Tuesday at noon, and at 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday or 11:59 a.m. on Wednesday, somebody outbids you by 50 cents. It's gone for 24 more hours.
Yep.
It's so annoying. Like an auction can take 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that.
Yeah. Anyway, we're sick of this crap.
Yep.
Give us your stuff at a deep discount. Anyway, I could go on, but we really can't because Gary has what he's calling his monthly massage.
Yeah, I have an appointment.
He made it sound like it was.
It's an appointment. It's a standing appointment. What do you want from me?
Is it deep tissue?
Yeah.
Is it in a strip mall?
No. Yes, technically. Kind of. It's not really a strip mall, but kind of.
How many fast service food?
None. There are 0 fast food service places.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
All
right by
right.
the post office in Grove City.
Well, we don't need to be giving away your Robert Kraft locations
Oh,
here.
I don't care. Yeah, no.
All right, I'll leave it there. Let's jump into prospecting, unless you don't want to, Gary. I know you don't like it
Stop
that
it.
much.
Let's go.
All right. We started last week running through 100 to 91 on our list, and today we're going to pick up and run over 5 more names for you.
From 90 to 81. So
Yep, 90 to 81. I just need to find where we are because I'm not really good.
right
with
there.
it.
You got it.
All right. So I'm going to run a couple of these. We'll both chime in on them. But first, Noble Meyer.
Coming in at number 90.
Number 90 with the Marlins, a pitcher.
It's the number 9 or 10 pick in the draft, 2023 draft. Yeah.
I just really
Prep
enjoyed watching his stuff. Here's one thing that was really interesting to me. Whether it's his sequencing, placement, or just how good his off-speed and moving stuff is, he has a fastball that's not that fast. What's he around? Mid-90s? It's not like he's throwing...
He's 94, 96.
Yeah.
But
Occasionally.
I think that he's going to that's going to tick up. I think he gets to sits 95 to 97 eventually. He's long and tall.
He somehow, with his release or approach, is getting these hitters to be way behind his fastball. Like they don't know what pitch it is.
Well, so one of the things that a lot of people who don't really understand the intricacies of baseball don't understand is the speed of a pitch matters, but the distance the pitch travels in relation to the speed also matters. He really climbs down the mound to his release point. Like he's releasing the ball probably on average, I'd say 8 to 12 inches closer to the plate than most pitchers release the ball.
So a little bit Lincecum-esque.
Yeah. So that 94 to 95 probably is reading to a batter as more like 95 to 96. But he has such a nasty slider that comes from the same arm slot. And that slider, when I say it's nasty, I mean it is nasty. 2 plane break slider. And the arm slot looks almost identical to the fastball arm slot, and if hitters sit back waiting for that slider, that fastball is going to just destroy their life.
He's in 2023 Bowman draft. If you want a good example of how that distance creates problems for hitters, I would recommend hop on YouTube and look up these MLB hitters trying to take on Team USA softball pitchers. A 65-mile-an-hour fast-pitch softball is really coming in hot.
Yeah.
There's just not as much distance to travel there. And being able to read the spin on pitches is really limited there. So I enjoyed watching this stuff. 2023 Bowman Draft is where you could pick him up. All right, I'm going to keep it moving. Up next, another pitcher. I usually don't pick that many pitchers to talk about, but
I'm good at picking prospects. What can I say?
We are good at picking prospects.
Yeah.
Everybody knows I write all this. T.K. Roby Tekoa with the Cards.
He was traded from the Rangers last year in the Sajaci deal to get Montgomery from the Cardinals.
He's in 2020 Bowman Draft. The big thing here with him, what I picked up is if he is ahead in the count, the hitters are kind of screwed because his curveball just completely falls off the planet. most of the time it's they're swinging and it's hitting the dirt in front of the plate. Like it falls off. The spin rate is insane for him. I think he's going to be a really fun guy to watch. But he's going to be heavy on the off speed, so he's going to have to build around that a little bit. That curveball is like the star of the show. But yeah, what do you think about longevity and him building out another pitch or two that'll be a good
I mean,
tool?
the slider and changeup are both fringe plus.
Sure.
And command is fringe plus to plus. I've got it as a 55 current, 60 future. I mean, that's the absolute building blocks of a solid middle of the rotation pitcher, a 3. I mean, I think the guy's floor, his absolute floor is a number 5 starter.
Mm-hmm.
But if it all clicks, he is a very high end number 3, and on a bad team would be a 2. That's a really good pitcher in the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a pitcher that's going to win a lot of games. The biggest concern that I have with Roby is any pitcher who relies on the junk, which he kind of does. It's not that the fastball's bad. It's not. But he is more comfortable with the junk. The only problem with a profile like that is if he's off on a given day.
If you're having a bad day, it's a real bad day.
It's a real bad day. Yeah.
Because you're not trying to drop in a curve on the first
Yeah,
strike.
and you're gonna walk 10 guys and give up some jacks. So
yeah. Up next, one that you're real excited about, Yanquiel Fernandez with the Rockies, 2022 Bowman Chrome. I'll let you take it from here because I know that you're excited about him.
So Fernandez is just so much fun. He rose 3 levels. Rose 2, played 3 levels in 2023, and he kind of came out of nowhere. He was a guy who had a little bit of prospect intrigue as an IFA, but it was all just projection. And even now, the hit tool is fringe at best. It's below average. I think it can get to fringe. I've got him as a 30-40. But my God, the power is dumb, and he's in the Rockies system. I mean, he hits light tower shots. His 90th percentile EVs were like 108. He touches 114 plus. And the load is fast. It coils. It's not a huge leg kick, but man, does he swing hard. Like, you tell me when we play golf, it looks like I'm swinging hard. I don't even feel like I'm swinging hard.
It's because you
You
are.
think I'm swinging too hard. I don't feel it myself. You're probably right, but I don't feel it.
I'll make sure to get some content up on the page this summer for that.
This dude swings with the intention of doing bad things to the baseball. And when he makes contact, it is not, legit has 35 to 40 home run power in the majors. And if he was playing all of his games in Colorado, he'd hit 65 or 70. Like, now he might only hit 220, but he is going to hit the ball out of the park, and he's fun. He's got a lot of swag. His hands, they do get just a little too far back sometimes because he's selling out for power. But even then, they're quick. He does chase a lot, as this profile would suggest. I think his best path to success is going to be to become a true 3-outcome hitter. And if you're not sure what a true 3-outcome hitter is, there's a theory in baseball. The true 3 outcomes that a hitter has control over at the plate. You're either going to strike out, you're going to walk, or you're going to hit a home run. Like, I think that's his best path to being a all-star level player at the major leagues. He's going to start the year in Double-A. Double-A was a little bit of a struggle. He wasn't there for very long last year, but seeing some high-speed, high-spin inside stuff caused him some problems. So one of two things, in my opinion, is going to happen. It's either going to be a really fast climb to Triple-A. He'll be in Double-A for a month, and he'll be in Triple-A the rest of the year. Or Double-A is going to just kick his ass. I don't think there's going to be an in-between. But, man, the upside is huge. A lot of guys, a lot of publications have him in the mid to lower 90s. I'm higher on him than some people are, just because I'm coming at this not just from a baseball perspective, but from a hobby perspective. and his power is too big to ignore, and the swag he has along with that power is too big to ignore.
Yeah. The only reflection I had watching the swing is I think he's going to have to really dial in on a higher contact rate.
Oh, yeah. He just sells out for power all the time.
I'm not huge on those guys, although I'm about to brag on somebody who is going to be in a similar category.
I think you and I have different opinion on Spencer Jones.
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert. Let's just go ahead there.
Yeah.
By the way, 2022 Bowman Chrome, Yanquiel Fernandez.
And Yanquiel's at 84 on our list.
Yeah. At 82, we have Spencer Jones, the Yankees. He's huge. Hits the ball far. He has one of those swings that is not violent, but the ball seems to be responding. So
he's 6'7".
Yeah.
Like when you're that big, the swing doesn't have to be violent to generate speed.
Yep. So I like what I saw with his swing.
I think he's got a giant hole in his swing.
I would compare his swing to a Matt Olson. I would compare his swing to a Will Clark.
Yeah, the difference between those guys and him right now, and obviously he's still developing. And one of the big things to remember with Spencer Jones, and I try to keep this in mind with him when I rank him, is he's only played 150 games since college.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's still a lot of development to go there. He did just get an invite to spring training, though.
I think you'll be surprised by him by the end of this year.
Well, I hope, but here's my issue with him. And it's very common with guys that are that big. It was common. Aaron Judge had this problem late in his minor league career, and he fixed it. He didn't fix it by learning how to do it. He fixed it by not swinging at this stuff. Spencer Jones still tends to swing at this stuff. Big, tall guys with long swings have a hole in their swing on the inner half of the plate high. They just do. Like, it's just really difficult when you're that long to get the barrel of the bat around to those pitches. Mm-hmm. The guys who succeed with that size and that type of a swing are the guys who learn to lay off of those pitches. And yeah, you're going to take a few called strikes in those situations, but that's a really hard pitch for a pitcher to throw consistently for a strike mentally.
Yep.
If he can learn to lay off of those pitches, then I would agree that he can do some really, really impressive things. And he's a really good athlete too. Like, he runs really well. He could steal 30, 40 bags.
And baseball is very different from football in that you have a lot of mentoring relationships. I'm not quite sure it works exactly like that in baseball, but he's at a program that has done this with somebody that has a similar weakness in the farm system. He's going to have a lot of resources poured into him figuring that out. I really like his contact. I like the rhythm of his swing, his tempo. I think, yes, there's going to be a big loop in his swing, but I feel like this is somebody that's going to be valuable to the hobby. I mean, he could get traded somewhere else, and now all of a sudden it's a game changer.
I don't think they're trading him.
They're not going to be in a hurry, but I'm saying that he is going to be the type of hitter that will have value.
Oh no, his
right
stuff already does.
Yeah.
My concern when I look at guys like that is that he tends to get out in front of secondary stuff. Like, he's really upright. He's really open. The hands are kind of preloaded. It just makes it tough. So, anyhow, what do we got next? We got one more for this.
Last one you wanted to talk about for sure, number 81 on our list, Jace Jung with the Tigers. He is in 2022 Bowman draft. And you were sharing with me that this one thing with his swing that just doesn't make sense for the power that he has.
Well, right. So, I would really, if you want to understand what we're talking about here when we're talking about bat angles and things like that, go watch some film of Jace Jung. His setup is so unique in that it almost looks like a golf club grip on the bat. And when he's in his load, the bat is angled in such a way that it almost looks like the barrel of the bat, knob of the bat, run down through his arm, straight through through his right arm. He's a lefty hitter. So it's at this 45-degree angle straight back. It's in the position that most guys are in at contact. But that's where he is at in his load. And you made this comparison. It's very Pete Rose-like. It's more exaggerated, but Pete Rose wasn't a power hitter. Like, he was doing that because he could just turn his body that way, get the barrel to the ball, and just slap the ball wherever. Jung does the same thing and has right now a fringe average, I think becomes fringe plus hit tool, but he's got legitimate fringe plus power that could get to plus power with that setup, which is insane to me. Like, he's able to generate that much bat speed almost all with his lower body because there's no cocking action. Like, a lot of times bat speed comes from that kind of momentum that you gain from that little cock action in your load and whipping down. He doesn't do that. And the fact that he's able to generate that much lift and get into his power in game, like he gets every bit of his raw power into the game, is really impressive to me. I don't think he starts the year with the Tigers. I do think he's up at some point. Zach McKistry is just not that good. So I think Jung's going to get every opportunity because they're going to play Colt Keith at second base. So,
yeah, the bat is a little flat. Probably what he had going on at some point. This may have been corrected in high school, middle school, whatever. But he probably had a little bit of a Sheffield or Eric Davis thing going on, where
there was a lot going on back
here.
here.
Yeah, there was a lot going on as the pitch was coming in. As he got bigger and velocity was coming in a little bit higher, he may just have a little bit slower hands, which is not uncommon with a power hitter. A lot of power hitters have been like that. So there's probably a correction to just get better contact, to see the ball better, to have less moving parts in the swing.
The bat is in the zone forever.
Yeah.
Like, he keeps the barrel in the zone for a long time. So
he just has probably mastered getting his trunk in the swing.
Yeah, it's impressive the power he's able to generate from that setup.
I agree. Now, you want to see, like, he's one of those hitters where the sound of the ball off of the bat is like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, I love going to a ballpark early and the BP, and I still think one of the most phenomenal things is the sound of a pure hit off of a wood bat from a professional.
That crack, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Nothing like it. But, so we'll continue doing this, running down our list. We will be back next week with more, hopefully with a couple purchases to be excited about.
Yeah, and maybe even a sale.
Yeah.
Purchase and a sale would be great.
That would be nice. Stay tuned on our socials, as we'll be posting updates within there. And then we'll be back next week for another episode. This has been the Ball Card Show, the Sports Podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
Bye now.
Peace.